Guys, on today's video, we're talking all about things that might be hindering your accuracy with your compound bow. So these might be things you don't even realize you're doing. So we're gonna dive in talking today and giving you some tips on things that you might be doing and how to fix them. Like and subscribe, let's get into this. All right, so the number one thing that I see people screw up is their grip. And I know there's a million different ways to slice a cake. There's a million different ways to grip a bow. But some of these things I know that can be controversial, but just a basic grip, you don't want to have any torque on your bow. And what that means, I can't tell you how often I see somebody just grip it like this. Like they're going up, hitting baseball, but they're gripping the crap out of this. So what that's going to do, and when you release the string and you got a grip on it, it's going to go whichever way you're tensed up towards. So it doesn't matter how many bars you have on your bow, it's not going to fix it. So that torque is just killing everybody's shots down range. And I see this so much when I go to a bow range. They just grip it, they release it, and you can just see the movement of the bow. It's just not a nice, easy release. So what I like to do to fix this is, I know this is keyed towards beginners. A lot of people like to shoot with an open hand. I don't do that anymore. I did that pretty much when I was growing up. I did a full, just open hand. But one thing with that, you don't want to be tensed up like this either, because that could also affect the shot. So what I like to do right now, and there's a lot of bow manufacturers that make a groove that go right down the front, and it's so you can use it as a reference mark. What I like to do is put 1 or 2 fingers on the front of the riser, maybe 3. And what that does, it gives me a consistent place that I'm putting my fingers every single time. This pinky might just be floating out here, but I'm putting that there, and that's not putting any torque on the bow. I'm not gripping it with my thumb. I'm just letting it sit in my hand. Or you can do an open hand. Let's just go ahead and get an arrow knocked up here. We'll show you what we're talking about. So an open hand would be like this. And that's fine too, as long as you're not putting any torque in your wrist. But what a lot of people do is when they release the arrow, they'll let the bow fall forward. And a lot of times the shot anticipation is to grab that bow riser. So that's one reason I don't like it. I just go ahead and I put 2 or 3 fingers. You could do 4 if you wanted to. 2 or 3 fingers right here on the front of the riser. Just nice relaxed grip. And that's what does it for me. I think it's just a lot more consistent. And by putting your fingers there, you're doing the same reference marks over and over and over. And then archery, consistency is key. So that is one thing I like to do. Just a nice, loose, relaxed grip, putting 3 fingers there. And that's gonna fix your grip. And it's gonna fix those torque problems. Next thing we got is punching the release. So a lot of people still shoot the trigger style release. Till probably the past, I would say 5 years, I shot a trigger style release. And the problem with those for me anyway is, people when they shoot guns even have target panic. Once they get the crosshairs on the target, a lot of times they have a hard time squeezing that trigger and making it go off where you're aiming at. No different in archery. A lot of people, they get on target, they have target panic anyway, and it's hard to go ahead and fire that release off with it where it needs to be. So what they do is they get the pin on the target and then boom, they punch the shot. They punch it because they can't hold it there and consistently release it. So they just go ahead and punch that button. And you can do it with one of these too, but I'm gonna tell you why a thumb style release like this is gonna help you overcome target panic and therefore not allow you to punch shots anymore. So I'm gonna show you right now, I'm gonna demonstrate what I'm doing here on this target. Make sure I get this dialed down to 30. I had it set on 80, that wouldn't have been good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get this on here, and this is a thumb style release. And I'm not discounting trigger style releases. You can do it with those too, but the key to that, I guess we can talk about that first, is when you're at full draw, don't do it like a trigger. Have your hand act as one fluid motion. That way you can just kind of Slowly squeeze. Nice relaxed hand. You're not tensed up. You're not acting like it's a gun. Okay, nice, smooth, and you just press it. Okay, you almost want it to be a surprise shot. That way you're not punching the trigger. You're really focused on keeping that dot on the target and then pressing. But with this thumb release or a hinge release, what you can do is we're gonna get it at full draw, and what I'm doing is I'm gonna wrap my thumb around this little barrel that's right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly pull with my back muscles. Okay, I'm pinching my shoulder blades together while I'm keeping the dot on the target. And just by doing that, it's gonna tense the muscles in my hand up, and it's gonna make the release go off. So once again, surprise shot is what you want. And I'm telling you right now, it's gonna solve a lot of problems when it comes to target panic. I've struggled with target panic my whole life, just like probably 99% of you guys have. And this is one way I've overcome it, or at least a little bit overcame it. So we're gonna go through right now. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So full draw, get your anchor point, nice grip. I got my pin on target. I'm gonna put thumb around the barrel of this thing. And I'm just gonna squeeze. All right, so just squeezing with my shoulder blade. Full draw, pin on target. Wrap my thumb. All right, and you can still do a nice follow through. And I'm not worried about grabbing the bow. Like you can twist all it wants. I'm not worried about grabbing that bow right off the shot. So there you go. That's one big tip right there to overcome target panic. Thumb style release, or just a nice relaxed grip when you're shooting your trigger style release. Okay, another tip that I have is, you know, a lot of people do inconsistent anchor points. And I've been prone to this too. Because growing up, I had a bow that had like probably a 30-inch draw length, and I was little. So I'm like way back here, like, I don't even know. But I made it work, right? And that's probably what a lot of people do. They make it work. But you want to have your bow set up for you. You want to have a nice draw length that matches your frame. And then you want to have your peep set up correctly. But you want to be consistent. So what a lot of people do, they put the string in the corner of their mouth, and then the string resting on the tip of their nose. But I've been known to be out a little bit on my cheek. So there's nothing wrong with that either. But as long as you're doing it consistently, every single time, being able to just come back up and replicate that anchor point, that is what is key. You want to do it the same way every single time. So a lot of people will go through and put like a little button or something right here for their nose, or maybe down here for their cheek. Kisser buttons, there's all kinds of stuff out there to assist you with your anchor point and creating those reference marks. But that is another key right there. Be consistent, do the same anchor point every single time. That's what's gonna make you consistent. And then the last one we're gonna talk about is target panic. Everybody struggles with target panic in some shape or form, I guarantee it. But you need to learn how to keep that dot on target. So there's a bunch of exercises out there you can do. I know there's people that will keep it at full draw, aimed on a target for, you know, up to a minute, and they'll just time it. That way you can go through and just make sure you can acquire that target and just keep it there. It's like a mental thing. A lot of people, they just cannot keep that dot on target. And I have fell prone to this too, and I still struggle with it. So every single time I go out and shoot, I have to overcome target panic. So don't feel alone if you have that, because I definitely do still. But what you need to do is just get used to keeping that pin on that target at full draw. It's just gonna make things a lot easier for you. So, and just holding it there. All right, so get used to doing that. It's gonna help you a lot in your bow journey. Those are just some tips and tricks that I thought of while out here on the range, things that I see people do, things that I've struggled with over the years, and it's all things I've struggled with. You know, as a kid, I didn't really have anybody teaching me bow mechanics or anything like that, so it's just the Wild West. I'm shooting however I want to. So I developed a lot of bad habits and things like that, just like I'm sure a lot of you guys have over the years. But if you like this video, please help me out on the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Also head over to the channel. We have a lot more bow related content and just about any other thing you can think of, because we're all over the place right now with some of the content we're pushing out. But guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in future videos.